How you doing? Woo! Let's do this.
So here I am in front of all these nuns.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are you guys ready for a show? For those of you who don't know, my name is Alex Soto, and this is Alex Soto Comedy LLC. I'm also the guy that was working behind the bar, the guy getting you guys to your seats, the guys guiding traffic in the front. If you haven't noticed, this is a two-man operation, my wife and I, and this is what we call the American dream, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys are a part of it, and before you scathed me on Yelp about how slow I was, by God, I'm 50 years old. We're getting it done, folks, okay, ladies and gentlemen? But we're about ready to get this show started. I know I'm just a pup, sir. I get it. That's why I'm fussing and fighting. These chairs weren't here 3 hours ago. All right, ladies and gentlemen, by round of applause, who's ready to have a great time tonight? All right, first thing I want to do, like I do every time, just because we outside don't mean nothing. We're going to do what we do every time. And the first thing I want to do is set the vibe in the room. Oh, come on now. 3 weeks ago, I had a show and it was too cold. Now I'm having a show, it's too hot. Boy, I tell you what, imagine Florida weather being so difficult. Isn't that something? All right, guys. Let's have some fun. And I mean, I'm so cool, you're going to cool off just from this show, I promise. All right. So the first thing we're going to do, as we always do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to set the vibe in the room. And when we set the vibe in the room, that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are going to remember these songs. And I know I'm going to be hitting the right direction because the heads will start bobbing. And I encourage you folks, it's like growing up in church. If you want the preacher to keep going, you say amen. And here, if you want the services to keep going, you just laugh and sing along. You've had enough time, you've drank. A little dirtier, but we lean in, you know what I mean? We just own it. We've been at it so long, they even made something a fashion after us called shabby chic. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have ourselves a good time, and I do not want anybody to get I don't want anybody to be upset. I'm letting you know up front, I have no problem saying goodnight, and you guys can leave, and I'll even give you your money back. But if you do, you're going to miss one of the best shows you're ever going to see in Summerfield, Florida, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know, you are sitting in the midst of the premier comedy and live entertainment venue of its kind in all of Summerfield, Florida, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is Summerfield. And I'll be honest with you, folks, there are people who live behind these woods that don't know that they live in Summerfield, okay? They think they live in Del Webb. That's the name of the town they live in, you know what I'm saying? So let's get a round of applause. Who here is from Del Webb, Spruce Creek? Let's hear it. Del Webbs? Thank you, Del Webbians. I appreciate it, Del Webb. Hey, we've been here 9 months, spent $4,000 on an ad. Thank you for finally coming. I appreciate it. Been waiting all this whole time. 9 months. Been waiting for you. Thank you so much for joining us. Del Webb is a great place. I live right next to it in the above ground living called Little Lake Road Subdivision. And I live so close to Del Webb that when I was a young man, bought the house, you could see the fountain when they built it. Boy, you want to talk about somebody thought they were in high cotton. While I look at there, I can see the fountain from my yard. That's got to make my value go up. Who here's long enough to know what the second thing they did after they put the fountain up? Anyone? They built a wall that separated my yard from theirs, and I could only see the tip. So thank you for joining us, Del Webb. How about the Villages? Villages? Boy, y'all are so far out the bubble. Somebody's gonna get on you. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who felt strong enough and confident enough to leave the bubble this far away from home, thank you so much for joining us. You are my honored guests. And Villagers, I just want you to know, you're not in the Villages anymore. So this is the club at the edge of town. And we encourage a couple of complaints, just not many. Because I feel like if I didn't get a couple, I wasn't doing my job. You know what I mean? All right, ladies and gentlemen, how about Bellevue? Bellevue, Summerfield, Bellevue. Bellevue don't go, woo, because they're scared of cops in the room. They're like, Thank you, Bellevue, for joining us. I appreciate you. 352 in the house. How about Ocala? Ocala? Oh, woo! One person in Ocala, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. How about Summerfield? How about Wildwood, Oxford? Okay. Oh, woo! All right. Appreciate that. Oxford, huh? Wildwood, hell yeah. That's the definition of the right and wrong side of the track, folks. Wildwood. Shit. I'm sure you're from the right, sir. I'm sure you're from the right side. Who? New York. What borough? We don't care. Listen, sir, don't leave. Don't you leave all butthurt. You're supposed to be the toughest guy in the room. Hey, listen, it's all good, brother. I don't get very far. You can tell his ass is from New York. He's got a Yankee shirt, ball cap says Yankees on it, sunglasses says Yankees on it. Everywhere I go, I don't know why, but would you believe that people see me and they think that I'm from New York? No. Imagine that. And you know, it's only a matter of time before I'm over in a situation where I'm surrounded by New Yorkers, and within 10 minutes, the conversation's always the same. Things you cannot get here that you can get in New York. Emma, what do you say? Yes. Yeah, that's one of them. They're like, pizza. Y'all, no, you can't get the pizza. I swear to God, y'all think we talk funny. I say, it makes me laugh. You get pizza? What else? What else you can't get here? Bagels. Bagels, holy shit, man. The bagels, oh my God. I get it, the bagels. Chinese food, right, mm-hmm. What about, how about the water? The famous water, the magic asbestos-filled water pipes. Been there since the fight of New York. I mean, Jesus Christ. But you know what? It always instantly gets to me. It's my turn to put my contribution into the story. And you know it's what that time that I always say the same thing every time. You know what it is? Let me try it again. You know what it is? I go, you know what I always notice from people in New York and they always go? Let's try it again. You know what I always notice from people in New York? You're all here. So have a barbecue sandwich and enjoy some sunshine. You're only an hour from everything. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are my honored guests. I want to thank you guys so much for coming out. We're going to get our chakras aligned. We're going to get the show started off right. And we got nothing but monster talent for you this evening. Are you ready? Yeah. All right, everybody take a moment. It's 90 seconds. We're going to get our chakras aligned and get ready for the show. Here we go. Here we go.
Sit or lie comfortably.
Do not lie down.
Quietly.
Here we go.
Allow yourself to be here fully.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is comedian Alex Soto, and this is Alex Soto Comedy, LLC. And you have found yourself my humble guest at the Joke Joint. Give yourselves a round of applause, folks. We did it. It's Saturday night, and you're going to be in no other place but here tonight, folks. I come before you this evening with 4 very simple suggestions, 4 recommendations. Please, number 1, leave your table talk to a minimum. That way we can do what we came to do for all of you. Number 2, please do not interact with the comedians unless they first interact with you. That way we can do what we came to do for all of you. Number 3, please do not record video or audio of anything you see tonight because comedians work anonymously and nobody wants to hear the punchline of a joke before we get to the next town. And last but definitely not least, for the next hour and a half or so, can we leave out there and have a good time in here? Then on behalf of all of us at the Joke Joint and Alex Soto Comedy LLC, it's time for the Saturday Night Adult Comedy Show with nationally touring headliner Tanya Lee Davis and friends. And you will be the witness to the spectacle. And ladies and gentlemen, before we do that, I got to get my man Mitch King here to sing a few bars, because frankly, I paid him royalties. Sing it, Mr. King, let him know. Nah, I don't need nobody. I don't need nobody. Telling me what to do. This isn't my problem, guys. I've been having this my whole life. You can ask my parents. I don't need nobody. I don't need no one. Asking me what am I doing? This is still America, right? It's none of y'all's business. Cause I'm a free man in a free world. American made, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, y'all. Round of applause. Only we can do it down here. That I'm standing my ground. Oh, my goodness. Look at you all bored already, ma'am. Come on, we're going to do this. I got you. You look like I owe you money. You're going to be all right. Good evening, everybody. God, what a beautiful crowd. We did it. Summerfield, the Joke Joint. And before you, oh, it's hot. There's 700 y'all over there at the square partying right now. Ain't no difference. A couple weeks back, we had the hunks here, male review. I can't unsee what I saw, ladies and gentlemen. But we had over 100 people there too. And it was about 10 degrees colder. And I got the wrath of it, folks. It was too cold. And I told them, just like I'm telling y'all, I put the request in with God 6 weeks ago. He might be a little behind on taking care of other things in the world. But I assure you, if you drink enough and listen to us, you're going to laugh and have a good time. Are you all ready? Awesome, awesome. Well, as I said before, my name is Alex Soto, and you are looking at the 2017 winner of Marion County's Got Talent Comedy. That's right. I was also the only one who entered. Imagine my surprise. I got a phone call from Marion County's Got Talent. They said, congratulations, you won. I go, won what? I forgot I even entered the thing. And then they explained that nobody else entered, so I won just because. I said, well, I'll tell you what, next time you guys need to let me book this thing, I'll get you on some real talent. But I had 6 weeks, and it was fortuitous, folks, that these people called me, because it just so happened that I got a call from a venue in St. Augustine from a lady who's famous in this parts for comedy named Jackie Knight. And she says, Alex, we see you're doing big things down there in Summerfield, Florida. And they said, we had a group that just called out, and we were wondering if you'd want to bring a show from your town to ours, and we would do it as a presents show. And I said, you know what, that'd be an honor. I'd only been in comedy 6 months. So I said, man, this is awesome. I can do my set at the Marion County's Got Talent over there off of Baseline to prepare for my show in St. Augustine. Now, Jackie Knight's, at the time, she's gotten bigger and better and broader and all that stuff, but at the time, she had a comedy club that held, no joke, 35 people. It was an honor. It was an honor to get that call. I was excited. So I went over there to get checked out at the Marion County's Got Talent, and I went and looked at the stage, and it was 1,200 seats. It looked like Katy Perry was performing in that son of a bitch, guys. I swear to goodness. I was like, what the hell? But I had 2 weeks to get everything ready, so I ran around. It was around Halloween time, so I bought a couple of these big-ass inflatable dragons, because Game of Thrones had just started popping, right? And at the time, ladies and gentlemen, my stage name, you ready for this? Was the Articulate Barbarian. You know the problem with that, folks? None of my friends could spell Articulate Barbarian. So I just went back to Alex Soto Comedy. That's why it is the way it is now. But at the time, I had this big old stage set up. We had about 300 people come out for the show, and we ended up recording it, and I put it on YouTube. If you look up Articulate Barbarian, you can see my special from 7 years ago. And I'm telling you what, the big dragons were there. We had all this pyro and stage lights, and smoke started shooting up from beneath the 2 dragons. I had comedians laying under the dragons with their hands between the dragon's legs, hitting the button manually for the stage show. Because we don't mess around. We'll make it look good. Look at this. That's just 4 banners and 8 sticks. Look how good that looks, huh? We do not mess around, folks. I kid you not. But I've been doing this now for a few years, and I'm finally glad that I get to run the ship, because quite frankly, it is a lot easier to just run the entire empire than it is to write a joke. So tonight, you're going to progressively hear comedy getting better and better, but it starts here. This is the bottom of the barrel, folks, right here. I am the host with the most. The guy was over there, he goes, hey man, wasn't I seeing you mop the floor? I said, I was plunging the toilet right before that too. We do it all, folks. But I want to thank you guys, and I tour all over the southeast United States. I don't go very far. There are people, and there might be in this audience right now. You can look them up on Fox News. And they talk about how there is a group of people that only worry or care about the things of the United States of America. And those people are called nationalists. And if it was up to them, they would put a wall around the United States and not be bothered with anything going on outside of these United States. And I'll be honest with you, folks, I can relate. Because if it was up to me, I'd put a wall around Florida. And I would only concern myself about the things in Florida. But don't get it twisted, folks. If you're not from here, but you're here now, you got grandfathered in. You're good. You are our people. Because we want your disposable income. We also have another rule at this club where I said that this is a room that it's full of grown-ups. We don't have to worry about if the law comes here to check on us, it's because they're going to get some free food. I tell them we're grown and sexy here. We don't need to be bothered with the things of the rest of the world. But I do have a couple rules, and I don't want anybody to take offense. But I said if you're under the age of 35, I need you to be accompanied by an adult. Not because I don't trust you, because I don't trust the gold teeth, the cornrows. I don't know none of that stuff. We have a no frisk policy because I hope half the men in this crowd have a gun in case something goes down. And ladies and gentlemen, you guys are my honored guests. That means you are protected. This is a safe space. Until the blue lights hit, then I'm friggin' out of here, guys. I don't give a damn. I'm just kidding. My honored guests, round of applause if this is your first time here. Look at that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Round of applause if this is not your first time here. All right, all right, all right. Appreciate it, all 8 of you. That's right. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I travel all over the Southeast. I do jokes, and I tell people that, you know, it's not like, again, I'm going to tell somebody I'm from Summerfield, Florida. So I tell them, I said, I'm from the Villages, Florida. And I explain to them that it's the fastest growing retirement community of its kind in the United States. And then I ask the question every time. I go, does anybody else know what else the Villages is famous for? Don't get ahead of me. What do you think they say, folks? What? What? Oh, listen to the golf carts. Yeah, that's what y'all are known for, sir. That's what it is. Anybody else got 2 cents? That's not. That's right. What else? That's right. You're exactly right, folks. A strong sense of community. You're exactly right. We take care of our own in the Villages, Florida, goddamn. I got 2 daughters. Raised them from scratch like biscuits by myself. They had to deal with this their whole life. I'm a lot. I got 2 daughters. One that looks and acts and sounds like me. And one that looks and acts and sounds like my ex-wife. Don't ask me if I have a favorite. I love them both differently, separately, equally, you know. One of them graduated from Stetson University in DeLand, Florida with a marine biology degree. That's right. She tends to the animals' needs at the Sanford Zoo. She's in charge of all the dietary programs for the zoo animals. Very proud of her. She got married. She got on with her life, bought a house. She's doing good. Very proud. My other one, she graduated with 4 degrees. Graduated with 1 in high school, 3 in college, and she was in the top 1% of the top 1% of academics in the United States. She got 2 letters from Obama and 1 from Trump. And when she graduated, she came home to visit Daddy, and I was excited. I go, are the agents calling? Where are you heading? Do I need to pack warm because you're going up north? And my daughter goes, Dad, that's how she does. Now that I'm graduated, my boyfriend and I are going to get a camper. And we're going to travel the United States for a year while I'm inspired to write my book. That's the same shit I said. I said, yeah, dang. I thought when you graduated from college, you got a job. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know about all this traveling abroad stuff. So she's telling me I'm going to go. And they left. And the first place they went with their trailer and their truck, and they went to Asheville, North Carolina. Yeah, nice place, right? Yeah, very nice. Yeah, yeah. First of all, let's give a little backstory, and I'm going to wrap this up because I got real talent behind me. My daughter came to me the Christmas before this and brought me a present. And I opened it up, and it was a marijuana weed rolling tray. And she told me, she says, Dad, I noticed the last time I saw you roll a joint, you were rolling it over a plate. And that's old school. I go, that's a very thoughtful gift. She says, you want to hear something funny and ironic? I said, yeah, I do. She says, Mom got me my Christmas present before I came here. And I opened it up, and it was a marijuana weed rolling tray. I go, word? She goes, that's right. She goes, because she said the last time she saw me roll a joint, it was over a plate. And that's old school. And I said, that's a very thoughtful gift, too. I go, is it this rolling tray? Because my daughter, that's the one that'll bring napkins to the party, you know what I mean? And not from the same company. That one, all right? So she's like, no, it's a different one. I go, well, that's fortuitous to know. I said, because I got both of y'all weed for Christmas. That's not true. I don't get my ex-wife nothing. It was just for her. But she says, she told me, she says, Dad, I want you to sit down. I need to tell you something. And I want you to hear it from me before you hear it from somebody else. Y'all know what's up with that, parents. Somebody needs to go get the 38 out the shoebox in the closet. Somebody's fitting to die. So I said, all right, girl, tell me what's up. She says, Daddy, I started dating somebody. I'm seeing a boy. Strike one. My daughter was at 25 credit hours per semester. We agreed that we weren't going to date while we were busy in school. I'm so progressive, ladies and gentlemen, I even suggested she had a pillow friend. Hey, I'm a hip dad, folks. I got to make it real. She says, Dad, not only am I dating somebody, she says, but he's from here. He's a townie. He's local. And I said, strike two, because ladies and gentlemen, I told my daughters if they're going to go find their adventures, find stuff when they're in their adventures. Don't bring the schmutz from here to their adventures. And she tells me, she says, Dad, not only do you know the boy, but you have mentioned on numerous occasions that he's a good boy and that he's smart. I said, okay, let me hear it. And she told me his name. And I thought for a second, and I looked at my daughter and I said, you're right. I do know the boy. And you are right. I have said on numerous occasions he is both a good boy and that he's smart. I said, there's just one problem. And she says, what's that, Dad? He's your cousin. What the hell's going on the ex-wife side of the family? Do I need to get a gun now? What's going on? She immediately jumped up. She goes, Dad, wait a minute. She says, he's not my cousin through blood. He's my cousin through... Well, they didn't actually get married. I said, well, I expect that kind of funny business on your mom's side of the family. That's not even part of the joke, folks. That's therapy. I'm telling you, this lady was dating her cousin, okay, guys? I'm not proud of it. She says, Dad, we're about to head up the mountain, Asheville, North Carolina. And she says, they told me that I'm not going to have signal when I get up there, so I wanted to call you and tell you how much I loved you. And that we'll be back in a couple weeks for provisions, and I'll call you back. And I said, okay, baby, fine. She goes, Dad, did you know that on this mountain, there are 215 waterfalls? And it's my job, before we leave, we're going to go and take selfies in front of all 215 waterfalls. And I said, damn, that sounds boring as shit. I said, baby girl, I'm proud of you. You made a plan, you stuck to it, you figured it out, you initiated it. Have a good time. Check in with me in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, ladies and gentlemen, the phone rang. Look down, it's my baby girl, my ladybug. I picked up the phone and I said, what you doing, boo-boo? She says, I'm on my way back home to Florida. We broke up. He's still on the mountain. I said, what? I said, how's this possible? She goes, Dad, you ain't gonna believe this. She goes, anytime you're in a 20-foot camper, even when you're not in the same room, you're in the same damn room. Really? Is that really how it works? Yeah. And she's like, Dad, you ain't gonna believe this either. Now, folks, understand, before they left, they took 2 cats, a dog, and a canary in a cage. I don't know what that was for, maybe a gas leak in case they could check it before they got a chance to leave. I don't know. But they were like, Dad, you ain't gonna believe this, but within 2 weeks, everything we had, there was no signal. I read all the books we'd already brought up. We were bored. We started fussing. Next thing you know, he's a resident on the side of a mountain in North Carolina, and I'm driving home. I go, well, baby girl, what happened to the waterfalls? She goes, you ain't gonna believe this, Dad. I go, lay it on me, girlfriend. She said, by the time I got to the 3rd waterfall, we realized them some bitches all look the same. We could have taken 215 shots in one day and headed on to the next mountain. Now, folks, understand that this is what the point where, again, they've known me their whole life. I was their daddy way before I was a comedian, but I was always funny. And it was at that moment I said, but baby girl, you know what they say. And she goes, no, Dad, what do they say? I go, you know what they say. They go, what do they say? I go, don't go chasing waterfalls. Fuck you, Dad. Click. Haven't heard from her since. Y'all got to pray for her, you know what I mean? Thank you. I appreciate that. That shit was funny, right? Round of applause for that last joke. That helped win Marion County's Got Talent right there. That was. All right, one more real quick one, then we're going to get on. That's way better looking than me. It's true. I can look around this audience, folks, and I can look in y'all's faces, and I can relate to who can relate to having a sibling that's either way better looking than them or way uglier. My sister's beautiful. Walks around all the time, has an entourage everywhere she goes. Theme music playing out of thin air. Never pays for shit. Very successful. We call her Hurricane because she come in, mix everything up, and then she leaves, and we're all stirred up trying to figure out what just happened. Years back, folks, it was 4th of July weekend, and my sister decided to come up from Fort Lauderdale, her Crystal Palace, to come visit us lowly folk in the middle of the state. She has a beautiful home. It's a castle on a lake that changes colors. It's crazy. And folks, she comes over, and when you go to visit my parents to check on them, you only stay for a few minutes, and then you're institutionalized. You got to go and have a drink because those parents will drive you nuts. I go to visit my parents. I wear the Foot Locker shirt just in case I need a whistle. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on. You know, and I got to be right there to make sure they don't kill each other. My sister's visiting. I get a phone call. She says, Alex, I'm done visiting Mom and Dad. I already got a bottle. Just tell me where to land. And I give her the address, and she comes on out. Now, folks, again, I live in Little Lake Worth subdivision. I live in the front half, which means those are the bigger mobile homes. But if you don't know about mobile home developments, the further you go back, the smaller the houses get, to the point where they get taillights on them. And that's where I was with my buddies at a bonfire. We were having a good time. She pulls up, Mercedes on the dirt road, comes walking up, sits down. We're talking for a few minutes, has a couple drinks. She then wraps it up. She says, I got to head to the hotel because I got breakfast with Mother in the morning. And I give her a hug and a kiss, and I tell her good night. And she starts heading to her car. On the way to the car, she makes a beeline for the bonfire with no warning. And there stood a tall, handsome Puerto Rican man standing at the fire. With no warning, ladies and gentlemen, she takes him by the elbow, spins him around, and gives him a huge, open-mouth kiss. He was 17 years old. My sister looked at him and she says, young man, I've been looking at you from across the yard. You are beautiful. You have a future in front of you. She says, get your head out of your ass. Get on with your life. Turned around, walked away. Years later, ladies and gentlemen, I was working at a job where I was managing a place where shopping might be a pleasure. But working there sometimes wasn't. And I was sitting in front of the deli department that I ran, and I looked up, and in the produce department there stood that same good-looking, tall Puerto Rican man wearing a uniform. We can make eye contact, comes up, gives me a hug. We start talking. He said, your sister, that kiss. He said, I woke up the next day, went to Burger King, I quit my job. He says, I went to the college in Ocala, I signed up. He says, I became an EMT. He says, I graduated, I got a wife, 2 daughters, I go to church on Sunday, and I have a retirement because of your sister, because of that kiss. Amen. True story. That's right. I called my sister, and I told her exactly what I told you. And my sister is such a bad bitch that she just giggled and went, of course. Never pays for shit. Finally, she says, hey, man, I just want you to know, I just need to know one more thing. I said, what's that? Now, folks, every time anybody's ever seen me and ever seen my sister for the first time, they'll say, what the fuck happened to you? All my life. And I thought this guy was going to ask me for my sister's last name so he could, messenger and thank her. And they ended up saying, he looked me square in the face. He said, Alex, what the fuck happened to you? And I said, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I never made out with my sister. All right, folks, round of applause for that last joke, and let's go ahead and have ourselves a good rest of the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you guys ready?